The mad scientist, 1000-year hustler, mom and dad of the year, Kenjaku is an amazing antagonist whose motivations fit the story of Jujutsu Kaisen perfectly, or so I thought. It seems as if the community is split on his motivations, and as the leader of the Kenjaku will win Hive, I'm here to tell you his motivations are perfect in the themes of the story. But before I do that, I'll explain potentially why his motivation might be seen as uninteresting. First, some of the villains that people love, such as Geto, is that they can see his decline occur from a justice fanatic to then basically turning into a freezer.
Hello, monkeys!
But in all seriousness, his collapse into becoming the most dangerous cursed user is nicely done because us as the audience experience his whole character arc and can feel sympathy for him due to the constant things that occurred with his life. Moreover, his dynamic with Gojo is great, so there is a more human connection that can be made with Geto's character and have some insane stans who defend him, which I will not talk about in this video because I do not speak for the crazy. No, he did not do this and he is not right for doing what he did. But his whole character arc has been fleshed out, and you can see every part of the breaking point in his character, so it's no surprise that people enjoy his character so much. However, as an antagonist, in my opinion, he cannot compare to Kenjaku in terms of the progression of the story and one of the most important themes in Jujutsu Kaisen, which is individuality. Before I touch on that, I want to clarify, enjoying Geto more as a character is more than valid, even though that's not my personal opinion. However, as an antagonist, that's where you begin to lose me, and here's why. Even though Geto is not a saint, as some people try to make him out to be, he does show compassion to those around him, and his purge of non-sorcerers plan does lie into a version of justice, however to an insane scale. Moreover, the trope of the good character who then loses faith in everything to become evil is far more commonly seen in the anime field, and to clarify, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, because it was masterfully written. However, a mad scientist whose sole goal relies on the curiosity of human potential is far less common and far harder to write in my opinion. This leads to why I believe Kenjaku fits perfectly as a current villain in the story, and he's far more intriguing than Geto. First, his character story has not been fully fleshed out, and his connection with so many important characters is insane. Whether we talk about our main character Yuji, or even another huge antagonist such as Sukuna, he ties into every big part of the story, and from just impact alone he far surpasses anything Geto can do as an antagonist, because his plot relevance far surpasses his. But like I mentioned, it fits perfectly with one of the key themes of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is individuality. Sukuna, an overwhelming sense of aggression that discards everything like a calamity, to burn everything to a cinder to rise to the heights of Gojo. Gojo, throughout heaven and earth, I alone am the honored one. Toji, to the naked flesh of the one who set himself free, to the one who left it all behind with his overwhelming intensity. All three top tier characters who embody the traits of individuality are also ironically the strongest characters in the series. Well, not Toji because he's dead. But anyway, this has been a constant theme pushed throughout the series, and Kenjaku embodies this perfectly with his motivation of curiosity. But first, let's unpack this curiosity statement, because it seems to be something of conflict in the fanbase. First, curiosity is perfect for this mad scientist persona, whose goal has shown multiple times in the series has derived from seeing human potential exceed his own capabilities. In 136, he states how he believes there's something more to human potential, and the CUlling game ritual is the beginning of reinstating the golden era of Jujutsu. In addition, we know he stole Noritoshi's Kamo's body to then conduct experiments on enhancing human potential, in which he created the death paintings. This was further shown in chapter 202, where he talks to Choso but complains about how ordinary he is. His motivation has been very consistent from the beginning we've seen him, and it's all for his own selfish gain, which has been key to overwhelming strength in Jujutsu Kaisen. This is why I personally have a hard time to agree with his motivations as bad, because as it's stated is key to the themes of Jujutsu Kaisen, and he's a scientist whose intrigue is his main motivation. It all boils down to that strong sense of individuality, and I'm a big fan of this being his driving factor. And this nicely comes to my second point. We're not supposed to sympathize with Kenjaku, which I think is a key reason why people don't like his motivation. Like I spoke about with Geto, his motivation can at least be sympathized with, and I think it's a big part of why people resonate with his character more in that regard. Whereas Kenjaku is a selfish individual who's focused on his own curiosity and constantly screws over people close to him. He sold the disaster curses a false dream in terms to groom them to become stronger so he can extract their curse techniques as shown with Mahito, and he also wanted Jogo's curse technique. He sold Choso an even bigger dream, where he made him nearly kill his own brother and worked for him the whole time until Choso learned the truth about the situation. This is manipulating and top tier fraud to the highest degree. And not only that, but like the Geto Dick Rider said in Shibuya, he's tarnishing Geto's name and making him the biggest criminal in modern day Jujutsu society. Similar to how he did Noritoshi Kamo. And I'ma keep it real, he's the GOAT. How can you constantly do your own plans, yet people don't even know you're the one doing it? This is elite fraud behavior. But to circle back, to not sympathizing with Kenjaku, I believe his character is not supposed to be reasoned with or to feel empathetic about. Sometimes in anime, a pure evil character is perfect for the story, and in the case I think Kenjaku fits the criteria perfectly. He's intriguing because he's inhumane, but to a different extent. Sukuna is evil incarnated and does things to his own desire. Mahito was evil and showcased the best parallel with Yuji with being a curse that killed with no remorse. And finally Jogo, who wanted to replace the humans in the natural order of Jujutsu world and had an interesting ideology that differentiated from the curses. And now we have Kenjaku, who stems from curiosity but to further human potential. There is no way to understand this guy, and yet he has dedicated 1,000+ years to his plan, which is just fascinating to me, as well as his mannerisms, nonchalant personality, but still being able to trash talk when in fights every time he's on the screen. I just want to see more of him, and I think he's a villain that we're just not meant to connect with at all emotionally. Moreover, it leads to my final point. His backstory hasn't been revealed. It could tie in a lot of his character. He's had relationships with so many different incarnated sorcerers, with bringing them into his CUlling game, as well as potentially with Tengen. He has such a major focus on a lot of the characters in his story. Moreover, seeing his actual losses in the past, seeing how he's got to the point where he's built up this whole 1,000-year plus plan to finally have one successful attempt in the modern day era, it will explain a lot of his confidence currently in the current arc and how he's showcased throughout the series. When he sealed Gojo, you saw the confidence he had, and even when talking to people such as Yuki, he would state he would not make such a mistake. And it makes sense with someone who has planned and continuously failed over the course of these years, and I think this backstory will cement it because we will actually see those elements of the story. One of my favourite things that we've done, and my biggest critique of one of my favourite antagonists, Aizen, is we didn't get to see enough of him actually doing the stuff that he did, which I think could have made another dynamic to his character. Whereas Kenjaku, we've seen a lot of the things that he has done in terms of how it's come to pass in the story, and I think now going back to the past, especially with the contracts he's made with people, it will fully make him a more enjoyable character, and I think people need to be patient for that backstory, because for the people who don't like his motivations, it may change your opinion on him as a character. But to conclude, Kenjaku is him. By the end, I think he'll be Jujutsu Kaisen's best antagonist with Sukuna, a close second, but he's just so interesting as a villain and as a character to me. Not everybody will agree, and I'd like to hear your opinions down below. But thank you guys for watching, and make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts on this video. Also, make sure to check out my second channel and also the affiliate links in the description below. We'll be streaming a lot more in the second channel, so all my links are in the description, and thank you guys for watching.
Why you keep ghosting?